It's the Unhappy Hour.
Broadcasting to you live from the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, California, Los Angeles to be specific. Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of the Unhappy Hour here on the TNAM radio network, because the news always matters. This is TheNewAmericanMedia.com, because the old American media has failed us, yes. So in 2017, any numbskull with a microphone and a computer can go live to the world, and that's what we've been doing for, Lord almighty, 6 years. 6 years we've been doing this. A lot of fun projects in the works, so just stay tuned. Working on a TV show. We're one step in on a 9-step process, maybe 1.5 steps in, so we're not going to get you too excited yet, but we are working on something, and we do have a loose-knit team of people. Names you would recognize, companies you would recognize. Fun project on the way. But speaking of fun projects, you can go online and take a look at what we did at the Conscious Life Expo. Talked with Jordan Maxwell, talked with Sean David Morton, Blake Welly did a whole bunch of Man on the Street segments. We're still editing all these pieces of video together, so I encourage you to just check it out. Easiest way, just for now, subscribe, youtube.com/TheNewAmericanMedia. Every time a new video goes up, it goes there. Some of them eventually get dumped over at TheNewAmericanMedia.com, but seriously, every one of our sites offers different content. I want you to subscribe, youtube.com/TheNewAmericanMedia, of course, but I was going to say Instagram.com/TheNewAmericanMedia. I think we're doing a wonderful job over there. We want you to sign up, link up, like our page, comment, share, invite all your friends, all that jazz. I think we're doing great stuff there. On Twitter, we're at American_media_, and on Facebook, Facebook.com/TheNewAmericanMedia. But our private group here is called The Unhappy Hour Sports Show. So if you do a search for The Unhappy Hour Sports Show in groups, it's a private group. If we can confirm you're either an Indians, Cavs, Browns, or Buckeye fan, or a Blue Jacket fan, we will let you in, and I'm telling you, it's the best. Our moderators, our admins, the community is awesome. If you like the Indians, or the Browns, or the Buckeyes, or the Cavs, it's great. So anyway, I encourage you to check it out. Coming up today, we're going to have Zak Baris. So I think without further delay, I think we'll just go to Zak. It has been so tough getting on the same schedule as Zak this year. I apologize to those of you who've gotten used to our chats over the years. It's all about the timing this year.
Hey, Brian, how you doing?
Zak, I'm doing great, buddy. How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah, I was just explaining in the intro that it's been challenging trying to get you on the right schedule this year. For some reason, and I'll raise my hand because I'm probably busier this year than I ever have been before, but our regular chats have been much less frequent than we want them to be. It's like, you're ready, but I'm not. I'm ready, but you're not. You know, and then we keep missing each other, two ships passing in the night. But it is always good to have you. I know we were trying to talk before the trade deadline, but it turns out there weren't too many big surprises after the trade deadline. I guess the Boogie Cousins thing was probably the biggest one. Would you agree?
I would definitely say so. I don't think anything got close to it. After the Boogie trade, I was anticipating a lot of other trades. But there were a lot of smaller deals. You know, the Taj Gibson, Doug Mcdermott deal went through. But again, Carmelo didn't get traded. Derrick Rose didn't get traded. Rubio didn't get traded. The Cavaliers obviously didn't trade Kevin Love. They didn't even trade Shumpert. You know, they stood pat, and it looks like, they could be one of the winners at the deadline because of some of the guys getting bought out.
Well, let's talk about some of those guys. Obviously, the two names you keep hearing about, Deron Williams, which, if we're replacing Mo Williams, an older backup point guard guy with some experience, hey, you know what? Deron Williams
He's still
fits
having a very good year. He's still averaging 13.5 and 7 a game.
Yeah, we would take that. We have Kyrie, so we don't need to, but, that's solid.
No, but, to get the veteran experience, you're getting a former, I think 3 or 4-time All-Star at least, to play for you, which is pretty impressive. The guy, he's played with LeBron on Team USA before.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Piece to have.
Exactly.
It's a very, very solid piece to have, especially to get for nothing. Think about that for a second. You're landing a starting caliber point guard for nothing. To come in here and help spell the role of Dellavedova and Matt Williams, Mo Williams that we don't have this year. So,
Exactly.
it really makes a huge difference.
What does it mean for Kay Felder and his development? Is he just going to end up in the D League? Are they going to keep? I mean, we're not going to have 3
Kay
point guards.
Felder, the problem is, people always go, the Cavaliers traded away all their draft picks. They traded away all their draft picks. Rookies very rarely contribute in a positive manner in the NBA. Very rarely do they make a positive impact. Very, very rarely.
Yeah, the Kyrie Irvings, the LeBron James, Tristans, fewer plug and play.
Yeah. But, Tristan wasn't great his rookie year. He was decent. He put up very similar numbers, but he's a much better player now, and I think it shows.
Yeah, decent is a good way to say it. It was one of those picks you'd watch him and go, okay. Well, all right, he's got moments.
Like people a couple of years ago were calling Doug McDermott the most NBA-ready player, and look what he did. He came in, he was shooting poorly from three-point land. It's very difficult to get these guys, to be contributors in the rookie season. It's very difficult. So when you look at really good teams, very rarely do you see a team like Golden State or Cleveland even carrying rookies on the roster to begin with.
Well, so, when you're in win now mode, obviously that changes things for sure.
And it's like Boston's stuck in the crosshairs because Boston's a very good team, but they're not good enough to beat Cleveland. They're not good enough to be good. They're not good enough to beat Golden State or San Antonio.
So are they the Atlanta Hawks? Are they the Atlanta Hawks?
What?
Are they the Atlanta Hawks?
No, they're different. No, they're different than the Atlanta Hawks because they had Jaelen Brown was the number 3 overall pick in the draft. They have a top 4 pick coming up in this year's draft. It could be number 1 or number 2, which is a very talented draft. So if I'm Danny Ainge, do I want to go and say, okay, listen, I'm going to go and get Jimmy Butler at the deadline and trade Jaelen Brown, possibly the number 1 pick overall all the way? Am I going to trade Lonzo Ball and Jaelen Brown and give up, Jay Crowder for Jimmy Butler? As great as it sounds on paper, you're paying for a guy that's making $25 million a year, and you're also you're also losing 2 potential top flight players down the road when your time really isn't now anyway. I mean, we witnessed it last year. A 73-win team couldn't get past LeBron. What makes you think the Celtics are going to do it? Take the Cavs' big 3 and compare it to Boston's big 3 if they would have gotten Jimmy Butler or Paul George. I'd still take Kyrie Irving any day over Isaiah Thomas, especially in a playoff series. I mean, I don't care what people say. Kyrie Irving hit the most important shot of all time. Okay? Give me Kyrie over Isaiah Thomas. As good as an offensive player as Isaiah Thomas is, he's one of the top 10 worst defensive players in the league. Terrible defensively.
Well, Kyrie wasn't always good. He's gotten a little better with the picks, the steals. He's playing a little tighter defense now. But he never...
Isaiah Thomas is a very bad defender.
Okay. So Kyrie, that's an easy one. LeBron, there's nobody in the league you'd rather have in 2017.
Yeah, and I don't think Horford's an upgrade over Love. I think their core might be better than the Cavs. They're better defensively around. With guys like Jay Crowder, Avery Bradley. Yeah, they have better bench pieces and they have better fillers. But I wouldn't say their superstar talent is going to get anywhere near defeating LeBron. I think it would be a 6-game series, but I don't think it would be anything more than that.
So
I made a comment on Twitter the other day, and I got reamed out by Raptor fans going, yeah, if the Raptors think getting Serge Ibaka and PJ Tucker is what's going to, bring them over the top to beat LeBron, it's a joke.
Yeah, I mean, do you fault the team for trying to get better when they took him to 6, though? I mean,
no, not at all.
I don't fault them, but
they gave up Terrence Ross.
And what's that going to do to him?
Nothing. I mean, Orlando has essentially traded Victor Oladipo, Serge Ibaka. They traded all these guys over the last couple months for a first-round pick and Terrence Ross. I mean, Orlando comes out of this as the biggest losers. I give Toronto credit for trying, but Toronto lost their 4 playoff games of the Cavs last year by an average of 28.5 points a game.
That's a brutal stat. 30 points a game in the Eastern Conference Finals, mind you.
8.5 points. Yes, they won 2 games. However, their 4 losses were by 28.5.
When they took the
kid gloves off. And the Cavaliers have beaten the crap out of them this season.
Right. Well,
I just don't think Toronto's that good. I think they're a decent team, but again, I still don't think they're good enough to get over the hump.
Hey, what did you make?
LeBron still will be controlling the Eastern Conference for at least another 3 years, in my opinion.
What did you make of Damari Carroll? Was that a punk move the other day against the Celtics?
I mean, I've seen a highlight twice. It kind of looked like a punk move to me.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
Kick the other night looked more like a punk move than, I would
say
when Draymond tried to kick Blake Griffin last night when he just happened to, I'm sorry, his leg just happened to fly up.
Yeah, a basketball play, I'm sure. I saw that, and I see, I think even more so what I saw with DeMar Carroll and with the Celtics. I kind of saw the Celtics and the Raptors starting to fight each other, a fist fight for number 2. Where would you rank them right now? Are they close, or do you think the Celtics have the edge? Are they close, or do you think the Celtics?
I think the Celtics are a bit better, but I think getting Ibaka, I think it's a very close call. I don't think it really matters on the long run. You're just setting yourself up to get knocked out by Cleveland either way. Boston will give Cleveland a series, but I'm not saying it's going to go 5, 6, 7 games. What I'm saying is those are going to be close games like they were 2 years ago. But don't forget, the Cavaliers were playing that series without Love.
That's true. That's true. But now don't forget how tough the Pistons played us last year. Those were almost all close games. We won them all, but they were all close.
But yeah, LeBron knows how to close. He knows how to finish. That's why I'm not worried about it. If it's a close game, they weren't that close. They were.
And Kyrie's learned how to close, too. I remember Kyrie hitting those half-court shots against the Pistons, and, the last-second Dellavedova pass to Kyrie in the corner, hitting that buzzer beater. Man, just amazing plays from him. So, yeah, we got a few guys that know how to close for sure. But,
and adding Deron Williams to the list, this is a guy who you want on your basketball team. And don't forget, they might add Andrew Bogut, and they might add Terrence Jones to the team. It's going to be one of those two guys, too, it's looking like.
So out of those two other ones, let's talk about it. Well, okay,
personally, I love Terrence Jones. I've loved him. You know that. I've loved him since his Kentucky days. I like him with the Rockets a lot. I would love to have Terrence Jones. I just don't know where he's a fit with Derek Williams and Tristan Thompson on this roster.
Will Derek Williams stay on the roster?
Yes, Derek Williams will stay on the roster for the rest of the season.
Why is that? Just because he has the size?
Excellent. He's been excellent. Derek Williams, the only reason he was cut in Miami was because, it was – Miami just – Derek had a good year last year in New York. He was very solid. I like Derek a lot. I always have. He's another one of the Arizona guys. Don't forget, this is the number 2 pick. Don't forget, we talked on the show just 5 years ago, going, this guy has the potential to be a Danny Granger type. Unfortunately, he was in a bad fit in Minnesota. He was in a bad fit in every city he's really been in so far, never developed. And now I think he's finding his niche as a role player with the Cavs. He's been very, very solid.
Well, then, hey, I'll take it. It's another big body that you'll need some guys to be in the heavy rotation, in case there's injuries, in case there's, foul trouble.
Exactly, Brian.
Matchups when you got to go big. So walk me through the Bogut thing. This has just been this back and forth thing about will he re-sign with the Warriors? Can he re-sign with the Warriors? What is the glitch? I
don't even get how he can. I forgot what it was, but I forgot why he's able to re-sign with the Warriors. That I needed to read, and I couldn't. I didn't.
Okay,
read
so he might be able to. Is where we're at with that one.
No, he is able to.
Okay.
He is able to. I just don't know why he's able to.
All right, so some technicality we got to check on, but where does your gut? Because I've been seeing reports that they're expected.
My gut says he's coming to Houston or Cleveland. I tend to think that now that Jose Calderon's being bought out, Jose Calderon goes to the Warriors. Calderon's going to go to the Warriors, in my opinion. Which it's just spelling minutes off the bench. I don't think it's anything big. But the Cavaliers will wind up with Deron Williams, which is a huge upgrade. And Deron wants to win a title. I think this is his best chance to win a title is with Cleveland.
I think so, too. Is there any other team that's even remotely on the radar for Williams, or it's a done deal?
No, he cleared waivers. Apparently his agent said he's coming to Cleveland as of a few hours ago.
Okay, I like that. I like hearing that. Yeah, and if you want a title, why not go to the champs with the best player, perhaps the best player ever to play?
Exactly the point. It's great to play in Golden State, too. That's odds are that's the finals. The Cavaliers have an easier road to the finals than Golden State does.
Golden State might not make it.
Team. Don't get me wrong. They have 4 superstars. However, they still have – there's the likelihood you still have to go through a good San Antonio team, which is no cakewalk. San Antonio is going to win 60-something games.
Are you still – by the way, let me ask you real quick. Are you still sticking with 4 superstars in Golden State with the Warriors?
I don't think Klay Thompson's a superstar. I think he's a very good player. I don't think Klay Thompson's a superstar.
So we go back to maybe 3. And Draymond, you would still consider him a superstar?
Brian, we've discussed on the show what a superstar is. Superstar is a LeBron James. It's a player that can literally carry a team by himself, in my opinion. is what a superstar is defined as.
And I think
The league
Steph
does
and
not have
KD
many
could do that.
superstars. They're like, okay, let's go back and look over the years. The superstars in this league were Kobe Bryant at one point, but even Kobe couldn't get it done himself, but he was a superstar. LeBron is one of those guys. He's just a superstar. Steph Curry last season was a superstar. This season, I think Steph Curry's an all-star. I don't think Steph Curry's having an amazing year.
Yeah, he shouldn't have got the start in the All-Star game.
No, Westbrook deserved it. But Curry, still deserved to be an all-star. Klay Thompson did not. Draymond Green did. Draymond Green's going to win he'll be first or second for Defensive Player of the Year. And Durant's having an unbelievable season. Durant is a superstar. So I think the team has two superstars in Durant and Curry, and they have two all-stars in Draymond and Klay. And Klay's a borderline all-star. I don't think Klay was an all-star this year. He did not deserve to be there by any means.
Yeah. Yeah, it was too bad Kevin Love couldn't make it. I thought it would have been good for a lot of reasons, and it's just too bad he was injured. Couldn't make it. You think that stuff matters to players when you get to this level? Do you think going through all the All-Star festivities and for Kevin Love to be a part of it and for LeBron and Kyrie to do that with Kevin, how much do you value those types of extracurricular things? The All-Star game, exhibition only, no real point to it other than having fun and boosting your brand. How important do you rank the weekend?
I don't care personally. I hate All-Star Weekend, in my opinion. I've been a couple times. I hate it.
You actually hate it, though.
All-Star Weekend.
All right, those are some strong words.
In 2012, I skipped the All-Star game to go to Denver for a weekend in Orlando because I don't like All-Star Weekend.
Because there's a lot of hoopla and not a lot of substance?
I would say there's a lot of hoopla. It's not exactly the safest weekend.
The safest okay, and hang on, we're peeling back the layers of the onion. Not the safest weekend.
It just brings in, it's the crowd there gets rowdy. It's a very rowdy crowd. I remember there were a couple shots that went off in the LA one in 2011 at a couple of the parties. And it was just like, come on. And then
wait a minute, was that at One Oak over there on Sunset? Was it, or am I blending?
It wasn't at One Oak. This was at it wasn't in the club. It was outside of. It was on Hollywood Boulevard in 11. That was before. What's it called? One Oak wasn't open in 2011. This was at the time. The clubs over there were like Colony, Playhouse, My Studio, Block. Those were the clubs that were open in 2011 in that area, and those were like, those are where a lot of the parties were. And I just remember it was just crazy that weekend. I mean, I remember it was a fun weekend. Going to the game, it was a fun weekend. Being there, everything was a fun weekend. But, I mean, it's very – NBA All-Star Weekend is very overhyped. The game isn't very entertaining. I think the best All-Star Weekend personally that I've been to, Major League Baseball.
Okay. See, we actually had a correspondent in there, interviewed Corey Kluber in the locker room last year. It's online somewhere. Justin got made it happen, and it was awesome because it was that win that gave us Game 7 in Cleveland, which, who knows, it might have came back to bite us in the butt because I think we would have won the series if it were in Chicago. That's a whole other story. But yeah, the baseball weekend, there's something timeless about that exhibition game. I don't like that it determines home field for the playoffs, and luckily they did away with that this year. But yeah, if you're ranking them, the NFL. The NFL game, the Pro Bowl, that is awful.
I think the problem is the NFL isn't very entertaining. I mean, I don't love the Pro Bowl. I've never been a fan of the Pro Bowl, and I think there are major problems with the NBA All-Star game. I mean, there are 200 points scored almost this year and last year. Like there's no defense. It's just a skills competition basically. It's fun to watch, but I turned it off this year at halftime. I was like, I don't care.
Although LeBron had a few nice plays, Kyrie had a few nice dishes. It was fun watching them, going off backboard.
Fun watching a little bit, but I don't love them. I never have loved All-Star Weekend. I like that they extended All-Star Weekend though. That it's now a week for the players to get some rest because you really see how long the season is. Brian, I mean, I don't know if you ever noticed, but when they were in the finals the last 2 years, you see how long this is. Someone was asking me the other day. They go, "How come you didn't go up to your lake house in New York at all last year? You went up 2 weekends." And I go, all right, well, let's go through it. I said, April, we didn't open it because it was cold last year. We opened the house in May. They were in the playoffs all of May, and all of our home games were on the weekends last year. So I was there every weekend at games. And then I go, June, they didn't win the finals until June 19th. The parade was on the 22nd. I go, I got sick 4 days later and had to have surgery a month later, and I was traveling, and I really couldn't do much. So I went up for July 4th, and that was it. I said there was the whole summer. They're basically playing basketball all summer long.
Zach, I've done shows with you.
Nuts.
I've done seasons with you. Let's mix in the Olympics. I mean, it never stops if you factor in the Olympics. It's incredible. It's a 52-week season. It's absolutely crazy.
I love when people say, "Oh, you know what? Their off season's too long for these players." And and I remember I see some people bitching, and I go, people go, "You only play 82 games a year." I go, just because they play 82 games, people get upset when LeBron takes a game off. And I go, listen, they might play in 82 games a season. However, they're also playing, 7, 13, 17, 21 playoff games last year. 21 playoff games. Okay, so we're up over 100 games now.
Yep.
Okay, we're up over 100. Also, you need to factor in these players practice. They travel every day. It is very grueling. Being there is very grueling. Being on a plane every day takes its toll. Despite what people think, it takes its toll. Even though it's first-class travel, it still takes its toll. Not being able to sleep in your bed and having to sleep in a hotel on the road is tough. I'm sure you've done it, and not being able to get acclimated to your situation when you're there for one night is very, very difficult.
Yeah, I try to explain to people, we've been doing this for coming up on 6 years now, a couple months away from our 6-year anniversary. And, every January, February, March,
Brian,
it's like...
we're at the 6-year anniversary now because we did the show 2011 with we talked about in the trade deadline, I believe.
Well, I
talked
think
about the trade.
Man, now you got me thinking.
Because I told you that there was a trade coming up. I remember I had informed you that the Cavaliers were going to be trading Mo Williams and Jamario Moon to LA. I didn't know for who or for what yet. I remember I had heard about the trade a couple days previous to the deadline. Called you, and then we had our first show.
Jeez. It's been a while either way.
So I remember because we did our first show. I'm 100% sure we did our first show talking before the trade went down because we hadn't gotten any details on the trade yet. I hadn't gotten any details on the trade yet. I had just known that a trade went down. And that was it. I had just known something had went down. I didn't know what it was or for who. All I knew is who the Cavs players were in the deal. I did not know who the who the other pieces were in the trade. I had no clue at that point who they were.
Right. Well, you know what? That actually reminds me of we kind of started talking about it and veered off into another direction. I wanted to get back to it really quick. We don't know all of the details as to why Andrew Bogut can go anywhere, but you mentioned a few places he might end up. What is your gut saying with Bogut? Do you think he comes to Cleveland?
I think it's Houston or Cleveland. I don't know where it's going to be. It's going to be one or the two. I don't know where. It's going to be one or the two, though.
Do the Warriors not want him back? Does he want to go back?
I don't know if he wants to go back. I'd be a little hurt that they traded me to upgrade the roster. That sticks in people's minds sometimes. It can definitely hurt someone. I know it really hurt Varejao. The Cavaliers could sign Anderson Varejao if they want. And I heard someone talking about it the other day. Both pieces. Both the team and the players have passed on that one. I don't think the players want a reunion. I don't think Varejao wants a reunion. I think Varejao was very hurt by what had happened with the Cavaliers trading him.
Well, he made a ton of money.
I don't blame him for going to Golden State. The guy wanted to win a ring. It's too bad he was on the wrong side of a title 2 years in a row. He played for the Cavs 1 year and they lost, and then he played for Golden State the next.
That is rough.
And I think he was really angry with the fans when they were sitting there booing him. I think he was shocked. But the boos were raining down. At Game 6 of the finals, when he got in there, they were raining down on him. And you knew it. You just knew it too, going, wow, is he hated here.
Well, he went to the enemy. He knew what he was doing, and you don't blame him, but you're still going to boo him.
I don't blame him for doing it either. I would have done the same thing if I were him.
Yeah, but you got to still get into his head a little bit, and apparently we did.
Oh, yeah. And it got into his head. He was horrible during the finals.
Well, he was kind of horrible. He
was bad.
He's a shell of himself.
Real
but
bad.
So I guess let me just let's get down to brass tacks. You're David Griffin. What moves still need to be made? We will just, for the sake of argument, say that Deron Williams is a done deal. You got Anderson Varejao out there. You got Terrence Jones. Would you lean to Jones over Bogut? Do you care?
I love Terrence Jones. I love his athleticism. Yeah, I mean, Bogut really doesn't contribute much on the offensive end at all, if anything. But the guy's still averaging 9 rebounds in 21 minutes, which equates to 15 rebounds in 36 minutes.
Yeah.
So the guy's going to go in there and he's going to play solid D. He just looks like he's lost a step this year, a big step, which worries me a little bit, especially going against a team that's super fast like Golden State. That's why I think I'd rather have Terrence Jones. But if you add Bogut, I think it really adds to the rivalry.
Good point, yeah.
It really, really does.
Well, LeBron was out there downplaying that there is no rivalry between him and Steph and
LeBron's
Cavs and
going to
Warriors.
downplay it. He can downplay it all he wants. But, it's, if they go to head-to-head for 3 times in the NBA Finals in a row, it's a rivalry.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know what else you can – I mean, unless the Cavaliers lost all 3 or won all 3 of them, then it's not a rivalry. Even San Antonio, I don't disagree with LeBron. I mean, it's only been twice in a row. Now, if it happens this year, if they face each other in the finals, it will be a rivalry. If LeBron faces the Spurs in the finals this year, it will be a rivalry. It will be his 4th time facing the Spurs in the NBA Finals.
That is crazy to think about.
4th.
Yeah, back with the 07 Cavaliers, back with the Heat. The Heat again.
Yep. Mm-hmm. That's what I would consider a rivalry.
Yeah, you know what? I said this last year. I don't mark it down that the Warriors are a sure thing to make it out of the West.
I don't think they are either. I mean, again, don't forget, the Warriors have been very healthy this season. Very healthy. It doesn't mean they're going to be healthy come June.
Last season, too.
We witnessed it last year. We witnessed them slow down come June last year. They lost some games in the playoffs. They were very lucky to get by Oklahoma City, because Durant choked. And, the Oklahoma City just choked.
Well, and Draymond probably should have been suspended in that.
Draymond should have been suspended. But you know what? And it still bothers me to hear idiots like Mike Greenberg saying, I'm going to call him an idiot because I don't like the comment. Saying, oh, well, Draymond got suspended. They would have won otherwise. 1, you don't know that. 2, Draymond got himself suspended for being a moron. Draymond effed up.
Big time. That's the guy who he is.
Suspended.
He is who he is.
You know what? If someone, and that's the thing. If someone else did that, Draymond's stupidity arguably cost them the NBA Finals.
Yeah, it's possible. It's possible.
I mean, but let's not forget, people don't ever mention the Cavaliers lost in 6 games 2 years ago without Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love.
Yeah, and if we were healthy, I still contend we had that. I still contend.
If the Cavaliers were healthy, you look back on that series, and I bet you, looking back on it, Cleveland would have won that series if they were healthy. They would have won because here's the thing. They were just out of gas. You look at Game 6 and 7, they had no depth. They were playing James Jones significant minutes. Kendrick Perkins. I mean, give me a break.
Yeah, that's not the A game. That's like the Indians in the World Series pitching Ryan Merritt.
I mean, if you pull off Draymond Green and Klay Thompson, or Draymond Green and Steph from this year's finals, and the Cavaliers win in 4, okay then. That's all people are going to talk about. Well, they were injured. We don't hear that from 2 years ago, though.
Yeah, it's selective quotations of relevant stats. You're right. They don't bring that up. The people that still want to talk about how many times LeBron has lost in the finals. It's like, yeah, you can technically look at that if you. Finals.
I mean, here's the thing. It's like people were talking, if Tom Brady loses this Super Bowl, is Montana still better? Brady still made it more times to the Super Bowl than Montana ever did. That's what I don't even get. So would you rather have seen Brady lose in the conference championship so he wouldn't have those 3 losses, so he wouldn't have the 2 losses in the Super Bowl to the Giants? Would we have rather seen him lose in the conference championship because then, he's 5-0 in Super Bowls all time? I don't think the losses are that big. He's been there. He still won his conference championship.
Well, and by the way,
understand.
I'm just going to say I'm going to put Otto Graham as the all-time best quarterback of all time. Maybe Brady at 2 or 3.
Here's the problem. You have to go by different eras because the game has completely changed, in my opinion.
It has.
The game is a shell of itself. Don't forget, the game was 100% different 60 years ago. 100%. I mean, teams now would crush those teams, but they're totally different.
Well, and that's the people. But here's the thing: players like Otto Graham and coaches like Paul Brown and Jim Brown, these were people that actually revolutionized what the sport became. You look at the founding fathers of it, and you go, "Holy crap! Yeah, Otto Graham. His what was it 9 He won 9 championships out of 12 straight championship games. Something ridiculous like that. I'd actually have to pull it up, but yeah, I mean, you're comparing players, and people are now starting to do it. Jordan to LeBron. I mean, this next.
I don't think you can even compare the eras now. I mean, I think there's so much difference. Don't forget LeBron. I mean, Jordan played an era too, where there usually wasn't more than a superstar or two on a team. It was Jordan and Pippen were 2 of the 3 best players in the NBA, 2 of the 5 best players in the NBA. You had but you never had more than 2 superstars on the team. But they also had Rodman. They had Kukoc. They were a very talented roster that Jerry Krause put together there in Chicago. Other teams didn't have anywhere near the roster of the Chicago Bulls.
So you can't even compare LeBron and Michael. You're saying that the eras are too different.
I think it's very tough. They never played in the same season together, and it's very, very tough. The landscape. Don't forget, Michael Jordan didn't play when the 3-ball was prominent. Now it is. Barely any threes were taken back in the 90s compared to now. It's a totally different ball game. Granted, do I think Jordan would still be the greatest player in this era? Yes. He would be unbelievable. If you take that 90s Bulls team, I'm sure they could adapt and shoot more threes. They were a great team, and they had great players. But the NBA has just changed. It's like people going, oh, Wilt Chamberlain would do this. Wilt Chamberlain played where there were a bunch of 6'3" centers in the NBA, a bunch of 6'3" small white guys. And the league wasn't really integrated much. I'm being serious. So you had a lot. Don't forget, the talent pool gets larger and larger as more players and more people are in the country. Don't forget, the country's, probably 3 times the size it was. The population now is 3 times what it was in the 1960s, the late 50s, 60s. It is.
Yeah. Man, but it's just so weird to think that LeBron and Michael can't even be compared, that the game has changed that much. And you're right.
It's so tough.
The 3-point game, it has definitely changed. I mean, the center position with Hakeem Olajuwon and, Shaquille O'Neal, go down, David Robinson and
you just don't
Patrick
see the prominent
Ewing.
centers because the 2 bucket's not as big of a deal anymore. The post game doesn't mean as much. It's just, shooting the mid-range jumper doesn't mean as what it did back in the day. It just doesn't mean that much.
It actually reminds me of a question I wanted to get to because we're going to start wrapping this up here. I wanted to ask you about what the Sixers did, because I was basically hearing that
trade.
Well, I was hearing that
they literally traded. Here's the problem in the NBA, and I'm going to tell you. We all know, Brian. I've been on your show before and discussed Nerlens Noel's off-the-court issues.
Yeah.
In the past, I don't know if they still exist today. I don't. But I know what he was once of. I know why he fell to 6th in the draft when he was the most talented player in the draft. He fell for a reason. We discussed that. I told you privately about what had happened.
Is that known at this point? Is that still common knowledge, or it's still?
No, it is not common knowledge.
So I still can't talk about it
personally.
Yeah, no, we did.
I told you personally, and I told you, previous to the draft. I told you the Cavaliers would not select him number 1 overall. I told you why they wouldn't select him number 1 overall. And
I guess it would fall under character issues.
And then, and there was a reason he fell to 6th on draft night.
Mm-hmm.
To New Orleans. And then he was traded again to Philadelphia.
So what do you make of him getting moved now? And but the point I was getting at was that people are valuing big men differently, whereas
people are also viewing. Here's the problem: is when teams hold on. Here's the thing: a draft pick as an asset is worth way, way more than when the player is actually picked. Okay. So let's say right now the 23rd pick holds a lot of value in next year's draft. It's a very talented draft. But when you get down to it, the 23rd overall player in the draft is probably going to be someone who's probably a 10th player on the bench, which means nothing. It's people want to have assets before the draft, and they mean nothing after. Once the player's selected, your values decrease. Look how much the 3rd overall pick was worth last year in the draft. Boston took Jaelen Brown. Jaelen Brown's having a very mediocre season. His stock's not worth that much. His stock, last year there was discussion about trading Jimmy Butler for the 3rd overall pick in the draft.
Yeah.
Now it's adding Jimmy Butler, next year's first-round pick, and Jay Crowder.
Man. All right. Yeah. I mean, it's the value of how you rebuild. You know, I'm looking at the Cleveland Browns with 2 of the top 12 picks going, man, oh man.
Again,
it just takes 1 year to get it right.
Once someone's picked at that position, their value automatically drops for the most part, unless it's a quarterback.
Well, it's maybe, okay, so it's a little bit like driving a new car off of the lot. As soon as you take it away, you lost 10% of the value right there. Give it another month, you'll take another 20% off.
Baseball's the only sport where it differentiates than football and basketball. Baseball's different. Baseball, you take a guy at 30th, and all of a sudden, wow, he's a huge asset. Okay, he's in the minor leagues. He's going to be the centerpiece and a prospect for a trade to get Andrew Miller.
Right.
He's, Justice Sheffield or Clint Frazier. It's a different story when it comes to baseball. And I've been fortunate enough to work in baseball and basketball. My background is I worked at Gaylord Sports Management for 2 years, in the baseball division as an intern when I was in college in Scottsdale. And we represented Tom Glavitt, David Wells, Brunson Arroyo, Luis Gonzalez. We had Mark Mulder. We had a lot of big guys back in the day in the early to mid-2000s. So I'm very familiar with baseball. I know how the draft works. I know everything works in baseball. And I had the pleasure and the privilege of being able to work and see how the sport worked. It was awesome. I love baseball. I had originally applied with the Cincinnati Reds for an internship. I had gotten the job going into my junior year, and then they said they were cutting their internship program. So I didn't get it. But I passed their scouting test. It was really cool at the time. I remember their scouting director sent me a video, of a bunch of players going through a test. And I was like, this is the coolest thing. And I took it with a friend. I said, Steve, you want to hop on this? And he goes, can I? I go, dude, they sent me the video. I need to analyze it. I need to go after, and I need to fill in all these answers. Yeah, you're helping me with it.
The phone a friend.
I do have experience working in both sports, and they differentiate so much. And I was even equipment staff for the football team for my freshman year at Arizona. So I know exactly how all the sports work. It's pretty cool.
It's interesting to think about how your life.
I haven't worked at the pro level of the NFL, but I know I still understand how it works. I used to see college scouts come all the time in the Arizona Athletic Department. I saw guys like Bernie Kosar come down to U of A. He came down there with Neil Cornrich's his agent. He was, I witnessed tons of coaches come down to our practices. I got to see it all. We had scouts there all the time. What was a talented football team where we had a couple of first round picks. We had a couple guys drafted. So it was definitely, Gronkowski was on the team. They had guys, I'm trying to think who else. We had a first round, we had a couple of, Michael Johnson, who was starting safety for the Giants when they won the Super Bowl against the Patriots, was on Arizona. He was a starting strong safety. There were definitely guys on that roster who made an impact in the pros.
Just imagine if you started working at the Reds and said how your whole life would be different. It's so weird to think about. I couldn't imagine. I really couldn't. I couldn't imagine. But, and it was just an internship. Yeah.
But it could have been totally different. So, you look at different things like that and see how it could change. But, especially in basketball, you see how assets depreciate if they're not, again, look at Nerlens Noel. His value depreciated so much, he got traded for nothing. They never even tried him and Joel Embiid on the floor at the same time. They spent 8 minutes together all season.
That's incredible. What a shame. Because at some point you looked at what they're doing, it's like they're just stockpiling top 3 picks. And then it never comes together, just like how you look back now. I mean, look at the Oklahoma City Thunder. Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden used to all play on the same team, and what do they have to show for? It's not like Carlos Baerga, Kenny Lofton, Albert Bell, Manny Ramirez, Jim Thome, and you go, well, they never won a title either. That's incredible. Thurman Thomas, Jim Kelly. There's been great teams. Andre Reed, that are just never able to get it done. And anyway, a lot of it really depends on the situation you find yourself in. Not everybody can change an organization. Some people, like you said with Derek Williams, where he ended up, it was just a bad fit, and it stunts your development. Then there are other players. You end up playing with LeBron James, and that usually turns out well. I was going to ask you this earlier about where do you see Kyle Korver fitting in as the season moves on into the playoffs? Because the more I'm thinking about it, I think it's going to be an incredible move, especially even having JR come back and you get multiple guys shooting lights out over there. I think that's going to prove to be a bigger move than we realize.
I was talking to someone today, and they said, well, where do you see – I feel like Richard Jefferson's the I feel like Channing Frye said, let's not forget, Channing Frye played such a huge, important part in winning that Atlanta series last year, yet he had nothing to do with the NBA Finals.
Yeah.
I said it's all about – I said it allows you to have different mismatches come finals time, and for different playoff series. Let's just say the Cavaliers go in there fully healthy, and we've got our starting lineup of Tristan Thompson, Kevin Love, LeBron, J.R. Smith, and Kyrie Irving. Okay, that's their starting five. Let's go to the bench, and let's assume they get Deron Williams, and let's just say Andrew Bogut, okay, / Terrence Jones. But we're just going to fill in the name Andrew Bogut, okay? Off your bench, you then have Kyle Korver as your sixth. You have Deron Williams. You have Iman Shumpert. You have Andrew Bogut and Channing Frye. You have James Jones. I feel like I'm forgetting someone too. Richard Jefferson. You have 12 guys that you can rotate at any point in there, although I think James Jones will be more on the outs. I don't really think you're going to be playing Liggins too much in the playoffs. And Jordan McRae will get cut.
Yeah, I was going to say they're trying to figure out with Liggins, McRae, with some of these guys who's going to be around on the final roster.
So, I believe that this team will be set whole within 2 days. And we'll definitely know the rest of the roster and see and piece together this team.
Okay, that quickly,
and
you're saying.
We'll know by Monday. I think we'll know by tomorrow, to tell you the truth. We'll know by tomorrow, Monday. But then you can really see where this team is. You see how they mesh. Korver took a couple games to get acclimated. It's going to happen with Deron Williams. It's going to happen when they bring J.R. Smith back. But the biggest key is you want to have your bench as strong as possible to be able to spell LeBron some minutes. You want him to be able to sit on the bench. You want to have Kyrie Irving not having to play 40 minutes a night. Don't forget, this guy popped his kneecap a few years ago and broke his kneecap because there was so much pressure. There was so much pressure of him playing so much, and there was no one to come in there and take over for him at the time. Last year having Mo Williams for the first month while Kyrie was out was huge. Mo Williams putting up all-star numbers last year, the first month and a half of the season.
Yeah, good point.
So it definitely helps when you have a quality player like Mo Williams who can come in off the bench, or a Deron Williams that can come in and be able to be a quality player and that can play 25, 30 minutes a night when needed. Like a night like tonight, LeBron will not be playing tonight.
Yeah, I saw that. He's got a flu or something.
Yeah, and it's not the biggest deal. It really isn't. It sucks because it's on national primetime TV, but he's not playing. But if he's sick, he's sick, and it's going to have no impact on the end of the season, whether LeBron plays tonight or not. The Cavaliers are not going to have home court advantage in the 7-game series. They're just not. Golden State has a better record, and so does San Antonio.
And we're right there with the Rockets at number 3 as well. That's a horse race.
Houston's not coming out over the Rockets and Golden State unless something weird happens. But
hey, you never know.
It's not happening.
Fair.
The NBA is the most predictable sport when you know who's going to the finals every year. It's very easy to predict.
So it's basically 3 teams.
Last year we predicted it correctly. We predicted a rematch of Golden State-Cleveland. It is very easy to predict the top half of each conference. Last year I was wrong about Houston. I thought Houston would be better than they were, and they were horrible. But you know what? It is what it is, and I have to say that I think that the Cavaliers will only have made themselves better. Don't forget. Let's look at this team. It was a little bleak. We've turned Dunleavy now into Kyle Korver, and they also are going to be adding Deron Williams and either Terrence Jones or Andrew Bogut. Imagine doing that at the beginning of the season and going, shoot, the Cavaliers don't have a backup point guard. They don't have a backup center. To suddenly having Bogut in there, to suddenly having Deron Williams, and adding the best three-point shooter in the league who's been playing lights out in Kyle Korver.
Okay, so who has improved more, with Kevin Durant or with the Cavs making all those moves?
I don't think Golden State's much better than they were a year ago because they've lost some of their depth. You lost a lot of guys. You lost guys like Barbosa. You lost guys like Festus Ezeli, Maurice Spade. You lost a lot of really good quality depth up the bench. Kevin Durant's a superstar. So, and he's been fitting in really nicely there. I think Golden State, I don't know if Golden State's better. Obviously the record's not better than they were a year ago, but I think they are a better team.
Right.
Don't forget, Steph also hasn't been as good this year. Neither has Klay Thompson. Neither one of the two of them have been.
Well, what do you expect? What do you expect when Kevin Durant starts taking all those shots? Chris Bosh told Kevin Love about this. You cannot expect 4 guys to put up 25 points a night. It just isn't feasible. Only enough. Only a certain. There's a finite number of shots that you get to take in a game. I mean, hey, the Warriors are obviously doing something right, but it's like you said, man. It's a long season. It's predictable in some regards, but there's still those wild cards out there that could shake it up, and you can never fully count out the San Antonio Spurs. And man, if the Thunder didn't get within a sneeze away from becoming the team to come out of the West last year. I mean, that's what makes watching sports fun. It's predictable in some ways, and then of course it's all those wild cards. By the way, I wanted to get back to this. I did look it up. Otto Graham in total led the Cleveland Browns to 10 straight championship games, winning 7. I mean, for an entire decade, 7 out of 10 championships, and you went to all of them. That's ridiculous. So, anyway, that's Otto Graham for you kids out there who never took a second. He was one of the first people inducted in the Hall of Fame. But anyway, I digress. So I guess then, Zach, let's maybe wrap this up on the biggest winners, biggest losers. Let's talk about the entire organization in general at the trade deadline. Generically speaking, who were some of the teams that you just think they took it? Maybe the Sacramento Kings.
I think New Orleans is a huge winner. I mean, New Orleans gave up Buddy Hield as a package and a protected first-round pick for DeMarcus Cousins. I mean, it wasn't protected. It has. Okay, let me rephrase this. It's probably not going to be that high of a pick because New Orleans is probably going to be playing much better basketball. So when you think about it, it's okay. It's not that great of a pick. It's not going to be a top 5 pick or anything. Even in a loaded draft, it's not a top 5 pick. And Buddy Hield's the centerpiece of that trade. Are you kidding me? Buddy Hield, he's been terrible this season.
It just
that's the guy where an asset is depreciated like crazy.
Yeah. Well, it just makes you wonder. Why would these teams make some of these deals that seem so one-sided? What are they thinking? What was the upside? What were they going for? Did they just the Sacramento Kings just had enough of Cousins?
I think Sacramento doesn't know what they're doing. I don't think the owner, I don't think Vivek knows what he's doing. I don't think Vlade Divac knows what he's doing. I think both of them are delusional in what their worth is. And I think New Orleans was your big winner at the trade deadline. I think Dallas getting Nerlens Noel for the future was a big win. I think Philly's a loser at the trade deadline, having to give up Noel for nothing and keeping Jahlil Okafor. And now also finding out Ben Simmons is out for the year. I think Chicago's a bit of a loser too. You have Taj Gibson, Doug McDermott. I don't love it. I think Oklahoma City's a bit of a winner, but again, it didn't bring Oklahoma City to a championship level. It gave them more depth. And Sabonis has been so bad this year. They needed it. But I think Oklahoma City created themselves a few more wins in that deal. But I don't think they're that much better. I think Cleveland's a huge winner, even though they didn't make a trade based on who they're getting. It is huge. I think those are the teams that come out winners.
Yeah, if you can
I think Toronto's a winner.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you can get upgrades without having to give up assets, that's a win.
I think Boston's a loser.
Yeah, Boston, they were the team that everybody was saying you're going to see, maybe not Carmelo down there, but they were saying, you're going to see Jimmy Butler. There were a few big names. It seemed like they were close to pulling the trigger on something, but, maybe they got it pegged like you do, that LeBron has the next few years on lockdown. Go keep the draft pick. Keep the draft pick and add it to what you have. But Isaiah Thomas isn't getting any younger, though.
Tends to hold on to his assets too long, although he held on the big 3 too long. However, it paid off in the long run because you wound up getting all those picks from Brooklyn. But he did really hold on to the big 3 too long, a couple of years too long, when he could have gotten even more value and kept the team as a contender. That Boston just kept playing and playing. He didn't trade Rondo when he could have. There are guys he could have traded a lot earlier.
Right.
Although we got a lot of value for Rondo. We got Jay Crowder out of the deal, so we got a ton of value. I think he just tends to hold on sometimes, but I think he's a great general manager. I think he just realized that this isn't his time.
Well, we'll see. We'll get a chance. They're saying this is one of the deepest drafts in a long time with a lot of potential to grab some.
Don't forget the one a few years ago, too, was one of the deepest drafts ever where the Cavaliers selected Deion Waiters. And, we've seen some really good players come into the draft, but it wasn't like it was pegged out to be where we saw all those superstars coming out. We witnessed guys like Harrison Barnes was never a superstar. He's been very good, but he's never been an all-star. Drummond and Anthony Davis have really been the class. Although Beal's having a great year, I think it's really starting to come together. But, the best class was the one that was supposed to be a bad one, where it was just deep. There was a lot of deep talent, but it wasn't superstar heavy. It wasn't top heavy.
Just goes. It goes to show how inexact of a science this is. All of this drafting stuff.
You look at this. You look at Kyrie Irving class from the 2011 class, and you're like, wow, it's one of the best draft classes of all time. Kawhi Leonard came out of it. Kyrie Irving came out of it. Klay Thompson came out of it. You had very solid players, and Isaiah Thomas came out of that. You had solid players coming out like, who was it? You had Jonas Valanciunas. You had Tristan Thompson. There were very talented players that come out of that draft. There were some busts like Jan Vesely and stuff who were taken too high, but there were a lot of and Derek Williams wasn't very good. But there were a lot of really good players that come out of that draft, a lot of really solid players. I think Jimmy Butler was in that draft too.
Hindsight's 20/20, huh? It's always interesting to redraft and see where people would go based on, Kyrie. Is Kyrie still the number one there, right?
Yeah, Kawhi Leonard's great too. It depends. I think he's a fit for the Cavaliers. Is a fit for the Cavs. I think Kyrie is the best fit on the Cavs. I don't think Kawhi Leonard was developed into a superstar being on Cleveland. I just don't at the time.
Yeah, and that's the knock they give to Carmelo, that they critique his game, but then some people go back and go, look, man, look at who he's had on his team for all those years. You have to play the way he's playing. It's possible to play a smarter brand of basketball if you have better teammates around you. So it's that nature versus nurture. It's that talent versus coaching and grooming. And landing in the right situation that makes such a difference. So. All right. Well, hey, look. Why don't you and I let's take a minute. We'll revisit this. We'll see if Deron Williams ends up signing with the Cavaliers.
Brian, I'm available to do a show tomorrow. If you want to do further, we can elaborate on a bunch of stuff. If you want to do, we can even do the redraft shows tomorrow.
Okay. All right. Well, then do me a favor. Sketch out what you want which direction we want to take the redraft show, and shoot me a text tomorrow. I think tomorrow could definitely work to do another check-in and do another one of these. We're so far behind on our coverage this year. I'm fine to do another one if you are tomorrow. Yeah,
we're just so backed up.
Yeah, it's incredible. So, for the people that have gotten used to listening to the shows, hey, seriously, I was starting to say it earlier. January, February, March, I got the Conscious Life Expo, I have the NAM Music Convention, and then we got the corporate taxes. It's like those first 3 months of the year, it's all such a blur. Mixed in with some other stuff. It's been tough getting Zach into all the shows that we've wanted to, but you know what? We're going to get caught up just in time for this playoff run. I think it's going to be fantastic, and who knows, coming up soon here, maybe we should even do a Cleveland Browns draft show, an NFL draft show if you're down. Hey, and spring training's starting for the Tribe, so, man, it's a great time to be a sports fan in Cleveland, and I couldn't be happier being a part of it and continuously having these conversations about it. So, anyway, Zach, thanks for joining us today, and if you're not following him on Twitter, he's at Z Baris, that's Z Baris. Thank you again for your time, Zach. Hit me up tomorrow, shoot me a text, and we'll see if we can knock another one of these out, okay?
I'll be around all day.
All right, you have a great night. Thank you. You take care. We're getting caught up on a lot of stuff, so we're going to have more videos. We're going to have more shows. We're going to really start piecing the rest of this season together. I'll just call it the 2017 season. Man, we've had 6 of these years. It's just incredible to think about how many of these conversations we've had, and just to sit here in the middle of our, I don't know, we kind of have like a 10-year plan, and so, sitting here at the midway point, on the other side of the midway point, just going, oh man, I really see where this is going to be headed, and it's going to be so exciting. So I guess maybe it's the calm before the storm. Take a deep breath and enjoy, because this is the moment that we can look back on and say, I was listening to these guys right before they took off, But really, you got to link up with us. Subscribe, youtube.com/TheNewAmericanMedia. Yeah, really want to get this TV show in the right direction. There's several different ways to take it, a lot of moving pieces. I'm starting to put it together, so just stay tuned. We're going to try to bring you the good stuff here at The New American Media. My name is Brian Engelman. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Like I said, follow Zach on Twitter. He's at ZBaris. That's Z-B-A-R-I-S. search on Facebook.com/TheNewAmericanMedia. Like our page, but then search The New American Media. For our private group, The Unhappy Hour Sports Show, if we can confirm you're an Indians, Cavs, Browns, or Buckeye fan, we'll let you into the group, and it's awesome. It's funny, it's breaking news, it's interesting stuff, a lot of jokes, a lot of fun. So anyhow, I just want to say thank you for everybody out there in the TNAM radio network. I appreciate you. I love you. We will talk again soon. 2017 is one of the most amazing times to be alive, and we can all have a conversation with each other. It's so easy to link up and connect with people you've just met. So join us, link up with us, say hello, join the conversation, the mostly civil conversation. We talk current events and politics, too, over at Agree to Disagree. We'll see you there, too. All right? Everyone, you take care. We'll talk again soon. Peace.
And this is John B. Wells reminding you that not only is Brian Engelman a cool guy, and not only is TheNewAmericanMedia.com a very cool platform, but here's a cool idea for you, too. Are you alone? Not really. Do you like dogs? Do you like cats? You do. Of course you do. Everybody does. One or the other, maybe even both. You know, there are a lot of dogs and cats that are at shelters right now, and if somebody doesn't take them home, they're going to wind up euthanized. That's a nice way of saying they're going to be killed, because there's simply not enough room. I guarantee it, the best dogs and the best cats, the best pets, come from shelters. There's something about dogs and cats. They know. They know where they are. You walk through one of them, and certainly at least one is going to look at you and go, I wish you'd take me home. I'm in hell. Please take me out of here. It'll be the best thing that you ever did for your soul. You'll feel good about it. And not only that, but you have a friend for life. Doesn't matter if you got money, you don't have money. Well, it doesn't make any difference to a dog or cat. All they need is the sound of your voice and maybe even the stroke of your hand, and they're fine. Maybe a little food every once in a while. The sweetest sound that those pets ever hear is your voice. Think it over and adopt a cat or a dog from a local shelter today. I'm telling you, you'll be glad you did.